To a story that we're tracking for you tonight, the first of 17 World Health Organization experts touched down in the country tonight. Here at South Africa's request, they will complete a quarantine period before being deployed to analyse our COVID-19 response. South Africa is now in the top 5 globally in terms of the number of infections. SABC reporter Samkele Maseko is outside OR Tambo International Airport awaiting the arrival of those experts. Samkele, a bit of a blunder this evening. We're not allowed inside OR Tambo International Airport, but the experts are expected to arrive just shortly before 10 o'clock. Take us through it.
Yes, indeed, Griselda. The experts are expected to arrive just before 10 o'clock this evening, exactly at about 9:45. They're expected to touch down here at the OR Tambo International Airport. But the Department of Health in the country and the South African government is treating these arrivals of these World Health Organization experts differently from when the Cuban doctors arrived in the country. You'd remember there was a whole parade happening at Waterkloof Air Force Base. This time around, the Department of Health and the South African government has opted to have a rather quiet arrival of these experts of the World Health Organization. But just to take a quote from the African Region World Health Organization Director, Dr. Matshidiso Motheo, she said, tweeting earlier on today, that World Health Organization Africa has made supporting South Africa a key priority. I believe our joint efforts with the South African health experts will help flatten the curve and save lives. We're in this together. This was in anticipation of the arrival of the first 17 of these 43 experts that will be landing in our shores or on South African soil later on this evening. But it's rather surprising that the African government has decided to have a rather quiet affair on the arrival of these experts tonight, with the Department of Health being very mum and coy with information when it comes to the arrival of these doctors. We only got this specific information up at about 10 minutes ago, when one of our sources gave us this particular update that in fact the department is keeping this a very quiet affair, and when these 17 experts arrive, they will be received by the Department of Health officials and they will be quietly taken to their quarantine site and then will be sent to the various deployments after they've finished their quarantine.
Samkele, do we have any details at this stage in terms of their deployment? Are there specific areas that these WHO experts will be assisting South Africa in? Perhaps expertise that we don't already have in the country?
It's not yet clear, Griselda, what their roles is going to be, especially when they arrive here in the country. But the Department of Health did earlier on issue out a statement. I'm going to reference some of the key points that were raised by the Department of Health on what these experts will be assisting the South African government and the Department of Health with some of the expertise they will be giving to the South African government. It doesn't go into detail, especially on which areas they will be assisting in the fight against this particular pandemic. You'd remember when President Cyril Ramaphosa addressed the nation, he did raise the issue that South Africa is increasing its numbers of people infecting and being affected by this particular pandemic. And the Minister of Health saying that the storm has arrived when it comes to this particular pandemic of COVID-19. The Premier of Gauteng and the Premier of KwaZulu-Natal, Sihle Zikalala, also echoing these particular sentiments. But let me just read an extract of what the Department of Health said through a statement. It quotes, Dr. Motheo and Dr. Ryan have become familiar and trusted figures in the fight against COVID-19. That's a message that was being delivered earlier on by Minister Zweli Mkhize. It goes on to say, they have been supporting and complementing our national efforts, and we have had very fruitful and honest discussions with them, who will greatly bolster our efforts, as we have seen how effective our interventions have been in countries like China, Spain, Italy, Mauritius, and other countries that have been through what we are facing now. I would also like to pay tribute to the World Health Organization Director, Dr. Tedros, who has been steadfast in our leadership in defining and beating this particular global crisis. But the Department of Health doesn't go into detail on what expertise they will be coming on board with to assist the South African government.
Samkele Maseko, thank you very much indeed. Live outside OR Tambo International Airport, and that's where the WHO experts, the first batch, 17, will be arriving in South Africa to come basically and assess South Africa's COVID-19 response. We're not sure at this stage exactly where they will be deployed to, what expertise they're bringing into the country, but certainly I think those are some of the questions that will get answered over the next couple of days. We know they'll be heading straight to a quarantine once they land at OR Tambo International Airport shortly just before 10 o'clock this evening. Thanks indeed, Samkele Maseko. So we did indicate the WHO agreeing to South Africa's request for their reinforcement as the country continues with its COVID-19